Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here, with the timeline for Season of Mastery and... Okay, I'm going to stop saying the final round of changes because they keep adding more, but the vast majority of the changes known. What can you do this time around a little bit differently? Though our classes are remaining the same, Blizzard has brought loads of content that would have been dotted throughout Classic's 12 months duration timeline and front-loaded it all into Phase 1. This means there's a lot more sources of gear, a lot more gold farms, and a lot more content which when it released originally was kind of dead on arrival, but it's now relevant. I've had a good think about what I would do differently, and I'm going to share that. It might not be the most groundbreaking stuff because, you know, we've just played the game for 18 months straight, and quite a few of these are probably fresh in your mind, but nevertheless, let's give it a go. First up, the first decision that you make, your server. Think about what you want to be getting yourself into. This time around, I believe more people are going to be rolling Alliance overall, especially with what Paladins can bring to a raiding environment. The raiding being buffed and a key point of interest, so I think you can link those things together. Classic also ended with a higher overall Alliance population, which has now swung the other way in the Burning Crusade. And even during that time when, at least to our knowledge, Alliance had more players, Horde still had battleground queues. Alliance players seem overall less interested in PvP unless it's for some kind of raiding advantage. So basically what I'm saying is I think over time we're gonna get a pretty similar scenario to Classic. Most of the Alliance teams will be pre-mades early on. Horde will also be able to pre-made early on because ranking is going to be very popular, but as time continues we're going to likely see queues make a resurgence as we have no cross-faction BGs. This means people are going to farm in the open world to get honor. And if you're a bit slower on the leveling side, by the time you hit level 48, you're now eligible to give honor. So if you end up on a minority faction on a big PvP server, or just, well, any PvP server for that matter really, in a game mode where we know absolutely nothing about the possibility of transfers, well, you better have rolled Night Elf for that OP Wisp form racial, that's all I'm gonna say. As for server populations and where to roll at the moment, where's looking active, it's really hard to tell anything remotely accurate. There was a sheet floating around about how many people were rolling what faction as per each server's Discord, but I reckon you get a lot of window shoppers who just pop in to try and gauge the population, like what you may have been thinking about doing. And there's already been some discords which have imploded in the space of a week. So I really don't fancy linking anything because server discords are something else entirely, but if you did want to look, they're not hard to find online. A lot of your add-ons will have been updated for TBC if you have played it in any capacity, but you can reconfigure them now on the Classic era server and get them working for when Season of Mastery launches instead of messing about with them on day one. Pretty much all the stuff which is currently in TBC existed in Classic, minus a couple of them. Profession-wise, minor or herbing plus skinning was already the meta in Classic, and it's seemingly going to be even more important in Season of Mastery, with high-level nodes dropping various elemental items. Minor herb might actually be the way to go, but of course you can't track both at once, so it's kind of annoying. Enchanting is also good early on for the low tier ones. You don't get a wand for some time through questing, and they're legitimately better than a lot of early ranks of spells. And I've no doubt everyone's going to be thinking, yes, 2 times gathering, this is going to be my gold source during leveling. I expect a huge amount of materials on the auction house and a smaller volume of people doing the crafting professions like tailoring or engineering. The thing is, I wouldn't just level with gathering to make money pre-60, but with a vision what I want to do after I hit 60, as in my first goal would be to get an epic mount because I just think it improves the quality of life in gameplay massively. Remember as well, faster leveling, less time for people to browse auction house for crafted upgrades. The only exceptions really are bags, but they are a one-time purchase. Make sure you do as many dungeon/elite quests as you can, as they do not only get the bonus 40% XP from the seasonal buff, but provide a separate burst of experience. Think of places like the Ogre Camp in Delsamar, Stromgarde, Moonbrook, those kind of areas. No doubt this won't be hard to find groups early on, but definitely go out of your way to get these done. They're going to level you up super fast. Get stuck into PvP. I don't think low-level battlegrounds are going to be active as they weren't in Classic, but at least they won't be full of twinks anymore. Depends on your server type, of course. If you're on a PvP server, you're not going to have much trouble finding PvP, are you? But we have rank and ranking rewards available from day one, so even if you don't consider yourself much of a PvP player, it's very worth it going for rank 3, this should be absolutely trivial to get and to maintain, just as it was in Classic, and it will give you a faction-wide 10% discount on goods and repairs, which will add up in the long run. New gold farms in Silithus. If you're ahead of the pack a little bit in leveling, forget the Devil's Saw Mafia, welcome the Templar Mafia. Okay, maybe not quite to that extent, Devil's Saw 2 set's still pretty OP, but as part of the tier 0.5 questline, Templars and Dukes are now summonable in Silithus. They drop a very good BOE gear. It might not be BIS, but bind on equip means convenience, and you can always put a price on convenience. Templars are possible solo. I remember being able to fear them in Classic on a lock. Stronger solo classes should be able to get them down. Dukes, though, you're going to need at least a duo. It should be a decent gold farm, but not as good as jump runs. Having Diamol East jump runs in the game from day one, on top of the changes made so far, make them, in my opinion, what would appear to be the best gold farm in the game, and something you should try and get into, whether it's solo or duo. To be honest though, they did just nerf Hunter's abilities to sell items in Diamol Tribute, they nerfed Diamond Flask, they nerfed mage boosting by making mobs immune to slows and roots and giving them bonus movement speed, saying that they did not change pathing in DMT of King Gordok that allows hunters to do this farm in the first place, so I guess the fact that every single boss in DME has scuffed pathing is okay. Either way, the value of jump runs in Season of Mastery has gone up, like way up. The open world is going to be highly contested, as it always is, especially on a fresh. You can get Black Lotus from herbs inside DME, assuming they don't specifically remove them from the drop tables. I don't think they will. You can also get Elemental Earth from rich Thorium veins at the end of the instance, which there are always at least 2 guaranteed. It's a very good duo farm for Warrior plus Healer. There's going to be less Dark Runes dropping in Scholomance because loot table changes are in from launch. If you're a duo, you can be Miner and Herb without scuffing your professions. The healer can get Demonic Runes, you can get Fellcloth for crafting, assuming Fellcloth gear is still decent with the loot changes. If you're playing a Lock or a Shadow Priest, I would actually consider mining and herbing once you have the gear for Diamol East. If I was tryharding, I might even consider 2 Warlocks, because I know you can do sub 10-minute runs. I think you would miss some herbs doing this, but it would still be worthwhile. Remember, in Classic, lockout is per character now, not per account. This changed ages ago, so alts for farming dungeons, if you are hitting the lockout, are very good. This farm has absolutely everything you could want in the game. You can get the class trinket books, which are just a simple turn-in for a good reward. Nostro's Compendium of Dragon Slaying, yes, that is what it's called now. You can sell Sator's Bow, which drops from the second boss in DME to rogues or warriors, as it's pre-bis, I assume. It's like a baby striker's mark. You can sell Hydro Kills to mages for the water quests. Yep, imagine that, locks boosting mages. How the turntables. You can get Librams of Focus for the Bis head enchant up to phase 3. You can get Arcane Crystals from rich Thorium veins, which will be in demand forever, as they were in Classic, for a Lionheart Helm, engineering trinkets, just all kinds of things. It does mean your character's kinda scuffed because they have double gathering, but I think the benefits of power farming it for a while should put you in a great position moving forwards. Again, this farm's kind of locked off for most classes solo because you need a mix of damage over time and good survivability, but it's still a good option for duo farms. Diamol East jump runs are going to be the real deal. There's also a lot of guides online at the moment, so I'm sure you could find them out and research it a bit if this sounds interesting to you. Okay, more farming stuff. You want the epic mount, right? It's still going to be 1k, even though your level 40 mount's price was reduced in half. We have 2 elite zones, which have 2 drops for 2 classes for 2 class quests. You know the ones. Eye of Shadow in Dark Whisper Gorge, mature Blue Dragon Sinew from Dragonkin in Winter Spring. In fact, the Dragonkin that drop then just have decent drop tables in general for a bunch of things you might want, and are skinnable. Now, regarding the Sinew, we do have AV out from phase 1, which drops a quiver similar to the quest rewards that you get in the Hunter, but it's got 2 less slots, and people like Biss, and the quest one's still Biss, so it's still going to have a higher price on it. Eye of Shadow, though, can only be obtained from a limited amount of sources, those being the demons in Dark Whisper Gorge or the ones in Blasted Lands, but they really need a group to get done. You're not soloing those on any class. And this will be full priest weapon, either Benediction or Anathema, which are both overall amazing. I got my epic mount farming Eye of Shadow on 2 separate characters actually. It's definitely a tougher grind than Diamol East, I would say, and much more RNG heavy. I feel like a few classes do have the capability to solo it early, perhaps only Warlock or Frost Mage. It is doable for a duo as long as you don't face tank the Felguards, they just deal way too much damage. And any range class, depending on your mana bar a little bit, can solo the Succubus mobs, who do have a slightly lower drop rate. I did it on a Warlock, for instance, with the most scuffed quest gear imaginable. Again, not a farm that everybody can solo, but it's worth a look at as an early game RNG gold maker if you can. I also think the recipe for Transmute Elemental Fire will be in from day one. Here's the line of thinking. Blizzard say changes and additions made to rep vendors and item drops in patches 1.6 through 11 will be in place from the launch of Season of Mastery, with the exceptions of item or vendors that are associated with reputations that are not accessible until a later phase. So, Thorium Brotherhood, is it available from Phase 1? Yes. Was Transmute Elemental Fire brought in a later phase? Yes, it was. It was brought in Phase 5. So, technically, this should be around from Phase 1. This is one of the easier reputations to level up. You only need Friendly to get this. After that, you need to go to the Grim Guzzler in BRD to buy the actual recipe, which again you can do on any class with a bit of patience and invisibility potions. I also think the plus 25 agi on two-handers will be available as well in Phase 1 because of this from Timbermore Hold. Once again, you only need Friendly for that. And I went and tried to check on the beta whether it was available, but you can't see items unless you've unlocked the appropriate rep. But it will be one to think about if you have a character who's a main and an alchemist. It's available every 10 minutes and it turns 1 Heart of Fire, which are usually pretty cheap, into 3 Elemental Fire. Other than that, what can I say? It's WoW Classic, a first look at what Fresh can offer, and possibly one of the more tame seasons overall. As always guys, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you all in the next one very soon.